Bourbon chicken on the Blackstone. We've never seen it done, however, we have had requests for this cook. If you want to see our take on this amazing dish, then stick around while we dig in.
I can't believe the WALTWINS. They're right there. That's one of them. That's the other one.
I'm the other one. Hey, welcome back.
I'm Adam.
I'm Brett.
And we are
the WALTWINS.
If this is your first time here with us though,
Welcome.
Consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our cooks that we do on the Blackstone, even when they're brand new cooks to us.
Yes.
I'm super excited for this one.
I'm excited too, and we've talked about this as well, is the more we cook on the Blackstone and get to know it, the more confident we get in doing so. From
trying new cooks.
We feel like we've messed up, so we give it another try, and then we nail it. So this one, we're confident about this recipe. I've tasted the marinade. One of the surprises in there is ketchup, but you can't taste it. In fact, speaking of that, let's get to the groceries.
Let's get to the groceries, Brett. Tell us what's going on in this one.
All right, well, of course, we have the star of the show, which is the chicken, and then the marinade. Recipe is posted below, but some of the things that stick out are the apple juice, like I said, the ketchup, apple cider vinegar, and red pepper flake.
And not pictured, bourbon.
Really?
And this one does not have bourbon in it.
Right.
Now, some people say that to be true bourbon chicken, it has to have bourbon in it. That's not true. This dish actually gets its name from where it was created, which was on Bourbon Street. It can have bourbon, and people claim it is best without bourbon. We've got a family, little kids, even though the alcohol does cook out.
Correct.
I don't have bourbon around the house, so we're making it sans the bourbon.
Exactly right, and also not pictured, we're gonna put it on rice.
For sure. Now, we do have a little cornstarch and a little water because when we get this sauce going towards the end, we want to thicken it up and turn it into a little bit of a slurry. So I'll show you that process just before we thicken it up and we put it on there. Now, the griddle has been on and cooking. So we've got our two sections. Right now it's on low. This will actually come up to medium low. Let's do that, in fact. Coming up to medium low, that's where we're gonna cook our chicken, these two. And then over here, this has been on low. As soon as we get our sauce in there, we're gonna crank that up because all we're doing is we're getting that sauce to temperature to cook, and then we're gonna turn that into a slurry.
And one thing that I do want to point out, made the mistake of putting this up here, over here. So now the handle is hot. When I use a pan on the Blackstone, I always try to pull it down here to the front corner so that the handle does. I've also put it here, but a lot of heat, you got to remember, comes out of the side. So we put it here, and we've had some success. Of course, don't forget you can always use oven mitts when needed.
Okay, right. So I just brought the temp up almost to high because all we really need to do is get this really hot, get that almost to a boil, and then we're at our slurry.
So we are going to be using EVOO today, also known extra virgin olive oil. It's much funner to say EVOO and quicker. Just put a little bit down here. And then, nice. Okay, kill the heat there, and we're gonna wait till this comes up and we can marry it, and then we'll move it over here. Yep.
All right, so this has been cooking about 7-8 minutes. The chicken is done, and this is starting to boil. So what I want to do is I'm going to make a slurry. I've got 2 tablespoons water. I've got 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and all I'm going to do is mix that. So this is just going to thicken up. As soon as this is mixed up, and this can be room temperature water or cold water, it doesn't matter. I'm going to, now that this is mixed, I'm going to pour this in, and we're gonna thicken this up.
Basically, the cornstarch, once it heats up, it's gonna activate, and it's gonna thicken this sauce up into almost like a thick gravy.
And you don't have to do it this way. We just like it really thick on that chicken to really thicken up. So now that this is mixed in,
we're just gonna wait a few minutes for that starch to get activated.
And then as it boils, it will start to thicken. And then when it starts to thicken, we know we're gonna pour it on, and then we wanna mix it in that chicken for as long as we can without drying out the chicken, but really let the flavors all savor. Now, if we were doing this inside, we might let that go for 10, 15 minutes. We're not gonna do it that long out here on the griddle, just long enough to let the flavors marry, make sure it's good, not burning, and then we'll pull it. I don't know if you can see that here. Can you see this? It is boiling right in here. So it is starting to, that's obviously my hot zone right there. So we'll bring that up, and that's gonna mix. So as that starts to, we don't really wanna reduce the sauce, we just want it to thicken up. So it's gonna boil a little bit. You see that rolling boil in there? So we got a little bit of that rolling boil right in here. So we're just gonna keep mixing that. Look at that, thicken up right there. That is really getting thick, just like it would be with the gravy. All right, I'm gonna give this just about 2 more minutes, then we're gonna pour this on and let this just cook onto the chicken. Okay, so sticking to the sides also tells us it's thickening up nice.
Oh,
got a rubber spatula so we can
smells
get
so
as
good.
much of this goodness in here. Look at that thick sauce just drip out of there. All right, there we go. We got as much out of here as we could.
Now, one thing to note is that Adam was a little worried that he didn't feel like the sauce was enough for the amount of chicken that we had, but in recipes like this, you got to trust the amounts and the measurements.
Okay, so we've got this low. We don't want that to boil or cook anymore, so we're gonna pull this off that direct heat and just
Plate up.
Look at that go. Okay, so we're gonna mix this for another several minutes, Brett.
Okay.
Just let this absorb all of that goodness, all of that flavor right here.
Okay.
Let that continue to cook in. We've got that on low heat. I'm gonna turn that off, so we'll just use the heat of the griddle from this point.
The residge.
The residge. All right, man. I think this is just about ready to plate up. What would you say, my guy?
It smells so good, my guy.
Ken's, I'm ready for a lot of good B-roll footage. Well, there it is, my guy. Okay, so Brett, be honest. You were skeptical of this one.
I was, because I love bourbon. Absolutely love bourbon chicken. It's one of my go-tos when I go to, the takeout Chinese place. But when you said there was ketchup in this recipe,
For
now,
this
I
one that we did.
I did taste it. Couldn't really get much of the ketchup, but then as we were kind of testing it, I got a little taste of it. But I picked up a piece of chicken that fell to put in my bowl. I had to lick my fingers, and let's just say I'm not skeptical anymore.
Listen, and sometimes some of these, what I appreciate about the recipes that we find, I do try to find things that we can use, common items that you're going to have. Oddly enough, the one thing that we did have to pick up was apple cider vinegar. We usually have it, but we didn't. But it didn't take much to get all of these items. The pepper flakes, all those little things that just add to this, we're super excited for. And I think we've let it cool long enough. And by the way, we did make jasmine rice inside, cut something to come out here to throw it with. You can serve this however you like or whatever you want with it.
Yep, exactly right. And also the really good thing with the starch and the water to activate and actually thicken the sauce.
And that was something that I'd seen. A lot of people don't do that, and that's fine. You don't have to. I only did it because I wanted this more of a slurry to really stick to the chicken, and it looks like it's done just that. I've got a couple of bites here, dude. I've got a couple of chickens on there. Brett, but like we say, it can look amazing.
It looks
My mouth is
absolutely
already
amazing.
watering. My mouth is already watering. It can smell amazing.
This smells delightful.
It's unbelievable. But if this doesn't taste amazing, this was all for naught. Cheers. I'll eat to that, my brother. Bro, I may have a new favorite dish when we go out to eat at Asian restaurants. The pepper flakes, you got that little bit of heat.
You do get a little bit of a kick. It's got to be from the ketchup, but more so the apple cider vinegar, which is in there. And then there's a sweetness, which, by the way, brown sugar is in this.
Yeah.
And I really like it on this rice.
Oh, for sure. I will say,
This might be good with a fried rice.
oh, absolutely, this would be good with the fried rice. I will say, if you have
Oh
a
my
favorite
God.
bourbon chicken recipe, guess what? You can do it right here on the Blackstone. This is my new favorite bourbon chicken recipe.
Oh, that last bite was just full of sweetness. And then a little bit of heat from the pepper flake. What
Oh
a
my God.
satisfying dish, dude.
And here's my one thought, because when you cook it inside, you let those seasons marinate and together with the chicken for 20 minutes sometimes. I was worried it wasn't going to be enough. This is perfect. I can't imagine it tasting any richer, having more flavor, and it's just absorbing into that rice. I don't know why you put your bowl down, my guy.
I had to. I had to.
I don't have to.
You're over here calling for it.
No.
So, but the thing is even now it's been what, a good minute or two since I put my bowl down, and my mouth is just still savoring the flavors. It's so amazing.
People reach out to us all the time through Facebook, through Instagram, say, hey, we just got my griddle. How do we do this dish? How do we do that? Someone said, what the heck? How am I supposed to know how to do bourbon chicken? Let's find out.
Give it a go.
And we did. This is our first time doing it, and it certainly will not be the last.
No, absolutely not.
With as quick as it was to throw that marinade together.
Yeah, in fact, the longest part of the entire cook was waiting for it to bubble up here
Seriously.
on the Blackstone.
And that didn't take as long as I thought it would. It
Correct.
seemed like it was going to at first because the chicken was done. I thought, oh no. Literally, the chicken sat for 2 minutes before it started to move, and we're like, okay, we're good to go.
And moving forward, if you are going to try this and do everything on the Blackstone, including the pan
I wanna
or
eat
pot, start it, throw it on high, and get that boiling while you're prepping everything else, just to give it a head start. That's all.
The chicken takes minutes to cook.
Yep.
This is awesome. Just like everything on the griddle. And Brett, by this way, just to prove one more time, you really can cook everything.
You can griddle everything.
You can griddle everything.
And it tastes
And
like
we love
more.
it. It does taste like more. I just gonna say that. We do love this, and we love that people reach out to us and give us so much support. One of the ways that people have offered support, you can support as well, is through our Patreon page.
Patreon is a multi-tiered system where you have a little more access to us. Everything from behind-the-scenes footage. We got what we call the leftovers and the blooper reels, and we have discounted merch. In fact, there's one level where you can actually get a free apron, or as we like to call it, a capron.
That's right.
Real heroes wear their capes on front.
That's so true. Those who have chosen to pay to support us through Patreon, we really do appreciate it so much. You all are amazing. Other thing that we just want to mention before we get up out of here is our merchandise store.
Griddle me this, fat man. So make sure you check it out because we have more than just apparel. We have a lot of goodies like a cutting board, things like that. So
yes,
again, that is through Digital Promotion. So
yeah, Digital Promotions is an awesome company that we love working with, who actually works with Crossroads Missions. Crossroads Missions does find ways to support those in need in a variety of ways. For example, they do help those who are less fortunate find affordable housing or find housing, and we absolutely love being a part of such an amazing company. So thank you so much for all that you do. And you can check out more information about Crossroads Missions in the link below.
yeah, the reason why we mention that is because a portion of every item purchased from our site a portion goes to them.
But for reals, we do appreciate them as well. But Brett, man, I'm tired of not eating.
Yeah, and
So
I'm
I
tired
wanted
of
to
seeing
be-
mine get devoured, so let's hurry up. So I can go get
The
some
kiddos
more.
in the background here that we love it. But Brett, aside from coming to make this amazing, amazing bourbon chicken, why else are we doing this?
Because all we do is twin, no matter what.
And with that, we bid you adieu.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
And
Griddle on!